Welcome back to another episode of JL Fishing. Always repping that CrossFit. Highly recommend y'all try out a class or two if y'all ain't done it yet. And shout out to everybody killing the workouts today. I just wanted to show y'all these baddest new rods that VEXAN's hooked me up with. Definitely need to check them out. Like, they are slick. Love the grip on this rod right here. When I hold a spinning rod, that's how I normally hold it. And a lot of other rods, they're real seat, don't have this section right here, and that it fits your hand absolutely perfect and balances the rod really well. They have all different models and makes and two different series. I definitely need to check them out. Also, this rod right here is gonna be my new wake bait rod. The rod I've been throwing is it's a medium, but it's on the medium heavy side of the medium. It's pretty stiff, but pretty stiff. So this rod right here has, I don't know if y'all can see it or not, but it has a whole lot of rod that can load up, and that is what you want when you're throwing a wake bait on a spinning rod. When you're throwing a wake bait on a spinning rod, that means it's a tinier wake bait, because if I'm gonna be throwing something, it's gonna be on a bait caster. So I had to downsize this just to a spinning rod just to be able to get the distance that I needed. So in return, the bait is pretty small and it's got smaller hooks. So when you set the hook, if you had a pretty stiff rod, that rod's gonna rip the hooks out of the mouth of the fish. This rod right here will keep the hooks in it while fighting the fish for you. Basically, it loads up like great. It's got great tip to load up with that fish. Today I'm going to show you how to work a crankbait, where to keep your rod tip, and where the butt of the rod needs to go. All right, let's start with line size. The line means everything. When I'm throwing a crankbait, I throw above average line size, above the norm, because your line is going to get nicked and everything. You want that extra poundage there just in case you have a fray in your line. You want that extra poundage there to get the fish in the boat. Also, I retype every 15, 20, 30 minutes. Every couple casts I'll fill the line and I retie. The size of your line will affect the depth the bait's running at. Say the crankbait reaches maximum depth at 12 foot. That's normally like on 12-pound line. If you go up to 14 or 16, that bait may only go 9 or 10 foot. And in return, say I'm wanting to, say the bottom I'm fishing is 20 foot. I got to get a 25 or 30 foot crankbait to reach the bottom. No matter if it's square bills or 30 foot diving crankbaits, you want that son of a gun to dig in the bottom. It leaves a trail, like a mud trail behind it. Whatever structure's down there, you want that bait to bounce off of it. You're gonna want that heavier line. But the way I'm about to tell you to fish it will minimize your snags. The rod butt needs to be loose in between your elbow and side. That way, when your crankbait is digging through the bottom and bouncing off rocks and structure, the rod pivots with your hand versus it being tight and going through the brush. The treble hooks will just dig into whatever you're trying to come through. Just missed one right there. Another thing is your rod tip. Cast out there, keep your rod tip down until the bait has reached the maximum depth. And once it's hitting bottom, you can sort of bring it up and you can be the judge of how high it needs to go. Say when you're coming through brush, you can sort of slow down your retrieve and bring your rod tip up and crawl your crankbait across the rocks or across the limbs of the trees or anything, and basically fish it like a jig. Just reel it slow and it'll come through anything and you will almost never get hung up. Another thing is gear ratio. I throw it on a 7 gear ratio reel. 6 is too slow, 8's too fast, 7's like perfect for me. You can try out different ones. I'm just saying that 7 fits me perfect. I like to keep the bait moving pretty fast. Again, it's for a reaction strike. Every couple reel turns, just stop the bait real quick. Just like that. That'll trigger a better feed response. So stop and go retrieve. Reel 5 to 10 times. Stop it for just a split second and start back. And that'll trigger any followers into biting your bait. Combine what I told you about where to keep the butt of the rod and your rod tip and your retrieve, and you will about guaranteed to never get hung up again. guy's little, but he hit right after a pause. He reacted to it. That's why he was barely hooked. He didn't want it, but I stopped it and started it again, and he hit it. Wrong species. A little product update on the VEXAN rods. This 610 medium is the best square bill rod I have ever thrown. Y'all definitely need to check them out. Sorry if the camera was too close to my face. I wasn't paying attention because I was so excited about these VEXAN rods. Check it out, look. And it's sexy too. See how this rod loads up when I'm pulling the crankbait. Like, that is the kind of crankbait rod you want. You want it to be nice and soft and parabolic. A good parabolic crankbait rod is key to avoiding getting snagged. It absorbs the shock a whole lot more than a really stiff rod would. Alright, so I was gonna try to get a few more fish catches on video, but come across a little guy, also known as a snake. I'm not too fond of them, so I'm gonna close this video out. Appreciate y'all watching. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. Out here with my good friend Coach Joey.
What's happening everyone?
He's creating some badass new workouts on Instagram.
You know we stay after it. CrossFit workouts. Jordan comes by, works out at the house, but if you guys are looking for some workouts to do at home, check us out at Skateboardinary Fitness. Hope to see everyone there.
Y'all better check it out.